What do today's teens think about alcohol and prom night? We'll find out about a program to eliminate drinking on this special occasion tonight up our alley. Everybody has a nickname which they're affectionately called, but why was Father Pat Lavin's mother known as Ma the Masher? We'll tell you this and much more tonight, all on Catholic Magazine.
With your window on your world, this is Catholic Magazine. Good evening, everyone. I'm Paul Morello.
And I'm Pat Shelton. Happy Mother's Day, and thanks for being with us. Father Pat Lavin is the remarkable son of a remarkable woman, and he'll share the memories of his mother with us this evening, and I know you'll enjoy it.
Also on tonight's program, we'll learn about a church in South Philadelphia celebrating its 150th year anniversary.
You know, it is possible to have fun without alcoholic beverages, even on prom night. And when you show kids how and give them an incentive, then we have prom promises.
Proms have been a high school tradition for generations, but lately it seems that one tradition has led to another tradition, alcohol on prom night. Because of the large number of alcohol-related deaths among teenagers, one insurance company has instituted a program to combat drinking and driving on prom night. Prom Promise is our topic tonight, Up Our Alley.
Up Our Alley is a forum which gives Catholic youth from the Delaware Valley an opportunity for expression and education through discussion. Now let's join Sue and her friends in the alley.
Good evening and thanks for joining us once again, Up Our Alley. I'm Sue Toma. I'd like to introduce you tonight our guests in the alley. To my right is Marlene Land, a registered nurse and faculty advisor for Students Against Drunk Driving at Cardinal O'Hara High School. On my left, from the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, we have Bill Slavin and Colin Gain. To my right, from the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, Chris Boyce. From the Diocese of Camden, Monica Guy. From the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, Leanne Heaton. And on our fire escape, both from the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, Amy Baritsky and Paul Atkinson. Thanks everyone for being with us. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, about 2 of every 5 Americans will be involved in an alcohol-related crash at some point in their lives. More alarming is the fact that drunk driving has been the leading cause of death among teenagers. In an effort to reduce the number of fatalities among teenagers, Nationwide Insurance has instituted 2 programs just for teenagers. Prom Promise is one of them. Let's find out what Prom Promise is all about. Is anyone familiar with the Prom Promise program in their high school? Everyone? Yes? Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Can anyone tell me exactly what Prom Promise is?
It's to promote not drinking and driving on prom night, and to warn everybody of the dangers of drinking and driving on prom night and what could happen. And it's pretty much just wants you to be safe on prom night.
Okay. How do the schools go about addressing the whole issue of drunk driving and prom and drinking and alcohol in the schools? I mean, they must talk about it. You all have proms.
Yes.
Okay, what do they actually do?
We do get told, and we will be told for a prom, rules and regulations due to alcohol and alcohol use of the prom. Some are severe, some are minor, but they're still enforced. And it's told to us by the moderators which will be attending the prom, and also for people like the limo companies will tell you when you order a limo, what the regulations are, the prom itself. When you're there, you'll be told what you can and can't do.
Okay, what actually are some of the
consequences?
Yes, if you're found with alcohol on prom night.
Well, for limos, if you're found with alcohol entering the limo or brought into the limo, some of the limo companies will cancel the limo right then and there because they will not take responsibility. If you go to the prom with alcohol and you're caught and you're under 18, you'll be pulled aside. Your parents will be called and they'll have to pick you up. If you're over 18 and you're not under the watch of your parents, you'll be pulled aside and the police will be called and you'll be escorted out of the prom.
Okay, is that basically the same for all the schools?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Do the high schools and your teachers support the whole idea behind Prom Promise?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and let's go to Marlene. Marlene, tell us exactly, you're one of the coordinators for Cardinal O'Hara.
Right.
Exactly how does Cardinal O'Hara and Prom Promise How does that go together?
Okay, what Prom Promise is, as Chris said, is a program that its purpose is to prevent injuries and deaths related to the use of alcohol on prom night. And we do this by increasing awareness of the students of the dangers that occur during prom night.
Okay, and what are some of the ways that Cardinal O'Hara is actually going about getting kids involved?
Actually, the kids themselves are involved in it. How Prom Promise works is a group of kids volunteer to help implement activities then to promote this awareness. In addition to the alcohol curriculum that they do get in their classes, the kids implement activities and events to increase this awareness. They do that through guest speakers, through activities. The Prom Promise program and many other programs supply us with these ideas, events, presentation materials, those types of things to increase the awareness. And the students are responsible for coordinating the activities and pulling them off.
Okay, so it's basically a student-run program within the schools?
Yes.
Okay, that's how it is in all the schools?
Yes.
Okay. How heavily does alcohol weigh on your mind for prom night? I mean, is it something you would consider, or it's definitely no? Definitely no. Okay. How many students consider drinking on prom night an important factor on having fun? I mean, do you have to drink to have fun, or what other ways can you have fun without drinking?
I don't think so, because after my prom, half of my grade is going bowling, and we're going bowling. Other people are having post-prom parties without alcohol, so I don't think it's important.
For fun?
The prom itself is fun from beginning to end. You're meeting all your classmates all in one place. You're having a dance of your senior year, your high school year. It's your biggest dance. The activities, the game, the certain dances they do, like electric slide and all that's fun. And all the events you got the next day, that like people go to Dorney Park, Great Adventure, and even the next day is fun, and everything's included. Alcohol doesn't need to be.
Well, it sounds like Paul's going to have a great time, doesn't it? Do you need a date, Paul? Okay, what about the other schools? How exactly are you guys going about getting Prom Promise more aware, getting the word out to the rest of the students that it is in your school and you can?
We have assemblies, and then our parents and us and our dates all have to sign contracts saying that we're not allowed to drink, that our parents won't have alcohol at parties. And we have assemblies, and we had a mocktail party today, where our school had a party where we didn't have alcohol beverages.
Okay, all drinks may non-alcoholic.
Right.
Non-alcoholic. Morning. Tell us, I know there's a little thing that they have to sign a contract.
Right, this is the contract here, the Prom Promise contract. When the students plan their activities, they're generating enthusiasm for students to sign this contract. It's voluntary. The students sign stating that they will not use alcohol or drugs on prom night. And they can also tear off this card here to keep as a reminder not to drink and drive on prom night or use alcohol on prom night.
Now, if they sign the contract, do they get something, some kind of gift?
Okay, so Prom Promise is set up like a competition. So the competition is based then on the activities that we implement to get the message out, and the schools compile a scrapbook to submit for judging. Prom Promise is a competition where we are competing against all the schools who are here. We're competing for cash prizes up to $3,000 and individual prizes for each of our students. So it's based on the activities that we do in this school, plus the percentage of the students who sign the contract. Okay. And the students who do sign the contract then get a free hat a gift for signing, and they get the hat.
Okay.
And with the card, we can, there's some places like Small's Tuxedos are giving like $30 off as long as you have the card present. And there's just like all kinds of discounts and stuff like that you get with the card. So it works out pretty well.
Okay, what happens to someone who signed the contract is found with alcohol on prom night?
If the rules of the competition are, if there is an incident during your prom night, you are out of the competition. So part of the criteria
so one person
is that,
would disqualify the entire school.
Incident-free prom night is a criteria.
That's pretty heavy consequences. How are some of the other schools going about implementing?
At Doherty, the students are involved. We're beginning it, and faculty is involved. And we have a thing where in the afternoon we'll have people get together to help promote it by drawing up posters and flyers and passing them out. A few of the teachers at our school that are in it, the moderators, and a few of the students, we go around to the classrooms and we talk to the students. We know a lot will hear it and a lot will understand it. Some won't care to, but then other people will change their mind when they see what we're doing. I've already had a few comments toward it where people like it because it's starting to promote some of the school spirit. People are actually getting into it. and people don't see it until they start getting into it. But we're promoting it that way by going around and saying by word of mouth to the people, and plus posting everything up on the walls.
Okay. How are you guys involved? Are you involved in the program in your school?
We have televisions in each classroom, and I think the people who are involved, they make like small commercials, and they view them during homeroom to help promote it.
Okay. Do you think Prom Promise is a good program or not so good program? Is there any other programs in the schools that this is just strictly for prom night, but there must be other things in the schools?
We have this program, it's called Cruise Control, where you sign a contract, you and your parents sign a contract saying if you are ever at a party where there's alcohol and your ride home drinks, that you will call your parents and that they won't hassle you or punish you or anything like that. That it's no questions asked, basically.
We have something like that. It's called Safe Homes, where all the families sign a contract saying that they're not going to have any alcohol. The children can go to their house, and the parents of the children that are going to the house won't have to worry about them drinking there or anything like that. So.
Okay. Marlene, we're almost out of time, unfortunately. Can you just give us a quick wrap? Just a couple comments to maybe help some kids out there who might not have that program in their school, what they can do on prom night.
Okay. It is a problem out there for many of the students. Drinking and driving, not so much, as also drinking during prom night, and just the problems that can result from that. The kids don't realize what they're getting themselves into. So we just need to be out there, to make them aware, to be supportive, get the parents involved, get the communities involved as well as the schools. The students are doing a great job dealing with the peer pressure, but they also need support from their families as well.
Okay, great. In the past, there have been many episodes of underage drinking and driving on prom night that have resulted in many disastrous accidents. Thanks to Prom Promise, Nationwide Insurance, together with teens from across the country, are trying to put an end to the problem of teenage drinking on prom night and hopefully make the experience a safe and happy one for all. I want to thank everyone for being with us tonight in the alley. Please join us again next week. We'll see you then.
You're watching Catholic Magazine. Father Pat Lavin is coming up, in addition to Paul Morello and his studio guest, right after these messages.
If you can't use force to stop a friend from drinking and driving,
Hop in.
use your wits.
This is your car.
Yeah.
My brother had the same car. He never let me drive it, though.
No?
So you must have had me in mind when you bought this. Wait till he hears you've got the same one, and you let me drive it, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Take the keys, call a cab, take a stand. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
These days, times are tough for many of us, but some have it even tougher. For over 25 years, the House of Charity has been reaching out to victims of hardship in South Jersey, regardless of race, religion, or national origin. Agencies receiving support provide food for the hungry, medical attention for the poor, care for the elderly, and training for the handicapped. Don't close the book on them. Consider a generous tax-deductible contribution to the House of Charity.
What do you think of when I say the Italian Market on South 9th Street in Philadelphia? Do you think of Giordano's Produce, Gino's Steaks, or Sylvester Stallone running down 9th Street going, "Yo, Adrian"? Well, it's a faith community, 150 years old, that comes to my mind when we discuss about South 9th Street or the Italian Market. St. Paul's Roman Catholic Church on Christian Street between 9th and 10th has had, to say the very least, a very interesting history over the last 150 years. The history of St. Paul's and its people, painstakingly documented by Celeste A. Morello. The name of the book is Beyond History, The Times of and Peoples of St. Paul's Roman Catholic Church, 1843 to 1993. Celeste, welcome to our program.
Thank you, Paul.
What made you take up this project, or who made you take up this project, I guess is the better question here.
Father Michael Gambon, the pastor of St. Paul's. He asked me to write the book.
And what was the motivation behind it? What was the reason behind it? Was it the 150th anniversary that he felt sort of a documented history of the parish should be written?
Well, there were a number of reasons why he asked me. He knew about my background in history as a teacher of history and the writing that I had done insofar as documenting and researching history. Also, he was thinking ahead in 1993. At the time he commissioned me in 1991, he thought it would be a good project. He didn't really assess the amount of time that it would take me to write this book, but he said, write a sociocultural history of this parish, write about the people. So he extended this to beyond just writing about the nuns and the priests in the parish, who did what, how many people donated how much money for whatever project was current at the time. So that's how it really started. But the book is an urban history. It's
and it really caters to a lot of different people. It's not just for the parishioners of St. Paul's.
That's correct.
It really caters to anybody that has an interest in history, I guess.
Well, there was never a history written on that area. So this is really the first book that documents the history of that area for such a long period of time. I go back to the 1630s, 1640s of when the Swedes occupied the area, and I take it up into the present. But I include a lot of social issues as well.
Now, one of the things that I found fascinating when I was paging through the book is that the people think of this area as the Italian market area because Italians settled in this area primarily. But I guess before St. Paul's actually was constructed, that there were a number of Irish immigrants that actually had settled this area before the Italians moved in.
The Irish were the predominant Catholics at the time. It was founded for the Irish. An Irish bishop, Bishop Kenrick, designated this parish to be founded, and Father Patrick Francis Sheridan was its first pastor, and he was a native of Ireland. So he was well at home.
Now, I guess there were some conflicts then between these ethnic groups, the Irish, the Italians, and some of the other ethnic groups that were there. Before we started our interview, you said that there was always an African-American ethnic pocket in this section of South Philadelphia, which at the time really was a township of Philadelphia County and was not considered South Philadelphia.
That's correct. It was known as Moyamensing Township. And that was founded back at the turn of the 19th century. But it was known as the place where the first ghettos were for the city of Philadelphia. It was just right below the city boundary of South Street. So that's where you found the undesirables. The first gambling houses were down there. The brothels were down there. Anything you wanted to do. If you were fleeing from prosecution in the city, you fled to Moyamensing. So there you found a lot of the city's unwelcome people, as well as the poor. And they were mostly of African American descent or the Irish.
One thing that, and I guess when you do research on a project like this, there have got to be some type of interesting or fascinating facts that come out. Anything that comes to your mind off the top of your head that really struck you as being odd or unusual when doing this type of project?
Nothing really. Everything was fascinating to me, and I think that's what really propelled and kept my interest, because you move from decade to decade and trying to find out what had gone on down there, and there was just one thing after another, from the nativist riots moving on up to when the police force was founded and how that affected the people, to the consolidation of the city within the city of Philadelphia in 1854 through the Civil War, and when the Republicans got in, different types of rioting, and then when the advent of when the majority of the immigrants were coming in from Eastern Europe and Southern Europe. That made a tremendous impact that's still felt today.
Now, in looking back over the 150-year history of St. Paul's in South Philadelphia, any lessons learned of the past that may apply to the future as not only St. Paul's, but we as a Catholic faith community today? Is there anything that we should take note and pay attention to as we move into the future?
I can't think of anything offhand. Of course, I don't administer in the area in the capacity of a religious, but I had noted at towards the end of the book that one of the most significant things that I found today was that the children at St. Paul's had asked to be converted. And it was more like peer pressure and a wish to be what their peers had been, are. As Catholics, the children saw that they didn't have too many extracurricular activities, that they were not too much into sports and other creative endeavors. So they saw that their classmates were altar boys, or they were doing this thing for May procession and other different functions throughout the school year. And they used to say, "Can I become a Catholic too?" So I noted that as one of the most remarkable things that recently arrived.
The name of the book is Beyond History, the Times and Peoples of St. Paul's Roman Catholic Church by historian Celeste Morello. Thank you, Celeste, for being with us. There's much more ahead on this edition of Catholic Magazine, so please stay with us.
So many people in this world need help in so many ways, and that's what Catholic Charities is all about. Not just helping Catholics, helping everyone. All religions, all races, all nationalities. Philadelphia's Catholic Charities embraces them all. So please, support Catholic Charities, because Catholic Charities is supporting all of us. An agency of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, serving 250,000 people regardless of their faith or ability to pay.
As we remember our mothers today, so does Father Pat Lavin remember his remarkable mother, Blanche. Let's watch.
Thousands upon thousands of telephone calls have been made, and over 1.5 million cards have been opened, most very serious, few humorous. And billions of dollars have been spent on potted plants and cut flowers, on dozens and dozens of roses, and also on corsages in order to take your mother out to dinner. This is that one special day of the year that surpasses all 364, when we honor the mothers who gave us birth, the mothers who adopted us, and those who reached out to us when no one else was around or no one else could help us to become the persons that we are. Oh yes, Mother's Day is a very, very special day, and Irma Bombeck was quite correct when she wrote in her book, Motherhood, I suppose every child remembers some special virtue their mother has, some piece of wisdom that has saved us from disaster, or a word that made the path infinitely easier. I love my mother for all of those times when she said absolutely nothing. Oh, Irma was right. As was Henry Ward Beecher, who said, the mother's heart is the child's classroom. Outside many churches today, the Knights of Columbus or some youth organization are selling carnations. Pink for a mother who's alive. Red in parishes of color to show that the mother is very much alive, and white to show that she's deceased. It'll be the third year that I affixed to my lapel a white carnation. I remember the first time it was not easy at all, and I wonder if it ever gets easier. But many, many times it becomes funnier. My mother, Blanche, possibly was one of the funniest women I ever met in my life. She had a great knack to get a point across. Sometimes it was done in silence, like Irma Bombeck's mother. I remember one time giving her a bit of lip. About 10 minutes later, I went upstairs to the bathroom, and there affixed on the wall with Scotch tape right in front of the toilet was a little note that she cut out of a magazine that said, I'd rather have 1 flower now than a dozen of roses after I'm dead. Oh, and she did it other ways too. I'll never forget the days when my brother John and Joe were in the kitchen and she was standing there mashing potatoes with one of those old-fashioned potato mashers. And they were giving her the needle like no one was given a needle before. And finally she had enough and she took the thing out and threw it. My brother John, being a football player and a basketball player, ducked, and Joe got hit right in the middle of the head with the potato masher and gained about 20 years as his hair turned white and potatoes were dripping from his nose. And then there was deep silence. My 2 brothers ran out of the room and my mother says, you have too much mouth. And then after about a few seconds of deep silence, there was laughter coming from the kitchen, laughter coming from the porch. And she says, I told you, you're going to get it. One more thing, and I'll throw something else at you. Oh, the lady, she did have a sense of humor. And from that day on, she gained the name the Masher, and she kept that name until the day she died. Today, all three of us are wearing white carnations. And I'm certain the lady is looking down with a smile on her face saying, you know, I didn't do such a bad job with the three of those rascals. But you guys still have too much mouth. This is Father Pat Lavin with a little idea of what it's like to be a troubadour. I ask you to keep on with your song, and until you invite me into your home again, I wish you a very happy Mother's Day. Oh, and Danessa, by now your baby is born and you and Ken have a third in your house. I say congratulations and I love you.
So nice. May is National Foster Parent Month. Catholic Social Services wishes to extend its gratitude to all the foster families for providing safe, loving homes to the many children in need. To learn more about becoming a foster parent, please call your local Diocesan Catholic Social Service office.
Next Sunday, May 16th, is Italian Market Sunday in South Philadelphia. Why not stop on down to experience the flavor and history of one of Philadelphia's most interesting neighborhoods? The festivities will last from 11 in the morning until 6 in the evening. And we also like to mention that the book that we discussed a little earlier on our program, Beyond History, The Times and Peoples of St. Paul's Roman Catholic Church by Celeste Morello, is available at Borders in Center City, St. Paul's, as well as Tower Books on South Street. And all proceeds, Pat, from the sale of the books go directly to St. Paul's Church.
Would make a good Mother's Day gift, even belatedly. It's a good book.
And of course, it is Mother's Day. A happy Mother's Day to my mom, my mother-in-law, and my wife, because last year I didn't do it and I got grief for it. So this year I decided to wish everyone in my life a happy Mother's Day, as well as you, Pat.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. And we'll see you next week, if the Lord is willing. Good night for now.
Good night, everybody.
SEP materials for Catholic Magazine, provided by Tague Lumber Incorporated, serving the Delaware Valley for over 75 years. And by John Wanamaker, fine stores in the Delaware Valley. We welcome your comments, suggestions, and donations and encourage you to write us at Catholic Magazine, St. Charles Seminary, 1000 East Wynwood Road, Overbrook, PA, 19096, or call us during regular business hours at 668-9842.